smile on your face. I can see the
I
energy.
think the more that we talk about how cool this is and that there's prizes involved and there's so many names that we know that a lot of people recognize, that puts pressure on. And when you talked about Shogun recently doing a lot of streaming um, and taking on that pressure, we could see that come into play here for sure.
Mm. Oh yeah. Speaking of
100%.
coming into play, let's go ahead and
Yeah.
jump into it. We got
Game
our
number
boy
2.
Gigabyte with a big. You see that smile? That's why I call him Gigabyte right there.
That's it.
It looks like he's ready. He's not got a care in the world. I'm excited to see. And you guys, we're getting a treat to see Gigabyte's perspective. I'll be honest with you. This is going to be interesting to see him do what he does because he does it so well. So let's see what happens. Jumping on into the point to get it started off. And let's have some fun, LD. Let's go.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Do you see Giggs maybe switched it up a little bit this game? He's still running the conduit, but with the fire offhand this time, which is super interesting to see. Also see him running the curious gilded build, which is something a little bit different that we don't necessarily see very often, but allows for very, very quick upgrades for the gear. So hopefully that can do well for him. We know how well Gigabyte can beam people down with that lightning gauntlet, especially on conduit with the damage ramp up. Super, super cool stuff to see. But yeah, we've just got the Valgard famine to begin with, getting them scrolls up. One curious on the board already. But Dav, what do you think of this team?
I think that that's an interesting point you just made. He might have felt that the wind wasn't giving him enough damage, and so he replaced it with that fire, and it's just gonna get that gold fire and toast some people up. I don't know. I'm interested. I'm interested to see what combinations he comes up with this.
Oh yeah, I definitely I think it could be a map choice that has changed his offhand gauntlet, or it could be the fact that he just, like Dav said, did not feel like the damage was there coming out from that wind gauntlet at all. I think, in my opinion, the fire definitely fills in the gaps of the holes in the conduit play a little bit better than the wind gauntlet. So I kind of expected fire. I was a little bit surprised to see the wind in the first place. So
Mm.
maybe he took a chance in that first one, and even though he took the dub, he didn't feel great about it. So going to be jumping into fire. I think it's definitely going to be a good choice, a better choice. And these talents are going to be huge. As you see, they're feeding Gigabyte knowledge potions right now. He is going to just be able
Yeah.
to put out so much damage so early that they might be banking on the fact that they might be able to get such an early lead that there won't be any way to come back. So definitely Gigabyte getting the spotlight on him, both in the tournament and from his teammates. Definitely getting a lot of that damage fed into him. But let's see if the weight on his shoulders will help him rise to the occasion or crumble underneath. I don't
Look
know.
at that movement, man. Using that
W-
conduit movement and that spring step paired, he's gone. He can disengage and get back in when he needs to. I love that
Yep.
combination.
That's it. It's good to see. And I wanted to touch on what you said, Timmy, about with the with the conduit and getting that leveled up in the early game, especially with the knowledge pot. Speaking of huge, knowledge pots can be a real game changer, especially for something like a conduit. If you can get them 4 shocks off on someone, they're done
Oof.
for.
Yep.
Absolutely done for. And it becomes a free exile almost. And then with the fire offhand, being able to finish people off at close quarters and then tickle them from afar with the lightning gauntlet, as we know Gigabyte does so well. We see a lot of fights happening in the kind of side lanes of this map. We see kind of a lot of farming going on in the middle and then people moving to the side lanes to take their fights. But this spring step movement, Dav, you could not have been more spot on. Absolutely dip diving around the enemy.
And it's going to be that spring step in conjunction with this conduit that really, really is going to put on a show for us. And we've already seen it happen over and over. We're already getting a great show. He's just dancing around his opponents. And like I said earlier, the spring step is going to be the shortest cooldown of any rune in the game. And what happens when you pair that with a conduit that gives you more charges on your rune is just a bouncy boy everywhere, jumping
Yeah.
around everywhere. And it's going to give him the opportunity to get out of a dangerous position. And if a toxicologist jumps into his face, or if he just gets jumped on, not only will it be able to get him out, but the spring step up and back or up and forward motion kind of puts you in a perfect position to sling out a fireball really quick, and just throw it down in the face of your opponent and punish them for trying to come into your safe zone. So we're going to see a lot of that happening and a lot of line of sight usage from Gigabyte, knowing very, very well that if he can see them at a good distance, he should be able to do quite a bit of damage with that conduit or that lightning gauntlet. But if you are in close range, he's going to be relying on that line of sight to prevent those players from seeing him, so that when they get close, he can jump on them with that fireball and really punish them. Really, really great play, especially around this center landscape here and this line of sight. Just showing Gigabyte knows what he's doing, especially with positioning, not just with conduit.
Oh, absolutely. I'm seeing Gigabyte stay primarily in that middle section so he can kind of keep his eyes all over the map. It's a smart tactic, a smart technique.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's going to be another upside of that fire gauntlet as well. Like you said, Timmy, say a toxicologist comes and jumps on him. Not only has he got that close range damage output with the fireballs, but he's also got the flame wall to possibly stop any tox slaps. One huge thing for conduit players is if a toxicologist gets some puddles on the floor in front of you, you can end up being shocked, or it can shock one of your teammates, which can really throw off some composition. So seeing that fire gauntlet there, using the flame wall to stop them slaps could really, really help when it comes to long poking people and stopping any pushes that might happen.
Yeah, a lot of people might know that the toxic cloud, when you shock it, that's the largest AoE in the game. Yes. And it'll shock a lot of people in that area.
And the one thing that you also have to be aware of is in Spellbreak, there are not that many crowd control effects that will keep you either slow you or keep you in place. And Lightning, the Conduit class and the Lightning Gauntlet has one of the best, in my opinion, crowd control effects. Not only does it have a gigantic AoE, it has a crowd control effect and it does damage. And when fully upgraded on the Conduit, the sorcery will strike 4 times, and that's a lot of damage, and it's hard to get away from. So in conjunction with just having an incredible class that he has mastered pretty much at the highest level, Gigabyte is playing super well with his fire gauntlet. He's positioning super well. He's listening to his team. He's just playing smart spell break all the way around and using what he knows he's good at, and it's working for him. 49-44, as we definitely see Gigabyte jumping toward the center area. And I think it's a really good point that Dav made, that he's kind of hanging out here, and he's having a lot of success here. But we have to remember, y'all, even though he may be looking at making it look easy sometimes, in the center might be where you want to be, but it's where everybody wants to be. So there's going to be a lot of attention. There's going to be a lot of spotlight. There's going to be a lot of people vying for that position and trying to get you out of it. So in order to take advantage, you have to be good enough to take advantage, and Gigabyte is. So we'll see what happens. Goes down for a count for just a second. We'll be coming back down for some more action as he does pick up 5 exiles on his scoreboard.
I think his choice of talents is a bold choice, because Vampiric is such a strong spirit talent that to replace that with Gilded, he's already got the gold weapons, and we're seeing that take effect now. The difference between a gold weapon and a blue weapon is big, though. So we'll see if that makes the difference in this fight.
For sure. We are seeing another very, very close game here. 56 to Gigabyte's team and 53 to Coach's team. Super close between them. I think this is something we're going to see as a recurring factor among many of these games. It's going to be very, very close, very tight. Lots of trades between the players. It's super exciting to see, and just makes for such a fun kind of gameplay. You've got, just trades and trades, big movement, big damage as well, especially as Dav said, with Gigs getting them upgraded gauntlets, runes. He's going to be zooming and bonking some big damage very soon.
Oh, yeah. We got a little bit of shift of momentum up in the scoreboard as LD was reporting in on what was going on. We kind of saw the other team, Autobots, or was it? Autobots is actually pushing back quite a bit. They were down by 5 or 6 points up on the scoreboard, and now they are even 61-61. And it doesn't matter when you even the score, as long as it's before the end of the game, and they have evened it finally. So right now we're right pretty much in the center of this game, right in the middle of the match, and it could be anybody's game at this point. Gigabyte and UB really coming through with some really great team strategies, especially with these talent choices early on. But I'm thinking that maybe, like Dav said, that maybe these talent choices might be losing their usefulness as the match progresses and as people start getting their own upgrades and their own items. But definitely going to be a lot of fighting going on here in the center. Gigabyte coming on through to try to get onto the front line with his teammates. They're definitely fighting in a group here and trying to their best to control the center area, as the other team is struggling to try to get in there and take it over. But right now, scoreboard's looking even. We'll see what happens.
I think you got a really good point that you just pointed. You know, something that you just pointed out was we're seeing Gigabyte's team stay together. You know, you see them in each other's cameras. They're right there to help each other out, and that can be a big factor in a team death matches. Fighting 1v3 even for 5 seconds can be a game over.
Mm-hmm. Extremely
For
good.
sure.
When you have a team based event where you have a team, it's you to not rely on them is not the way to go for sure. So being able to tag in when you're low, having your teammate come through and take that front line, take the pressure off of you, let you recall, let you reset is extremely important. And you hit the nail right on the head because it makes or breaks the game. It doesn't matter if your composition is great. It doesn't matter if your class happens to be a really like balanced in its favor. It doesn't matter if your server and your map choices are in your favor. If you don't have that teamwork and the other team does, you're going to lose. And definitely seeing a lot of that coming through. As we do get a little bit of a shout out to another game, but wait a second, this is Spell Break. Back into it as we are on the Blind Faith. Coach PK coaching the whole chat on how to do the conduit. Oh, he's doing conduit this time, y'all.
Oh, huge. Big switch up. Seen a lot of switch ups between the teams here. Of course, Coach PK's team unfortunately took the loss last time, so maybe we might have seen their entire team switch up their composition and see if they can get something to counteract the enemy team's gauntlet choice. But as we see the enemy team change their gauntlet choice, could it have all been for nothing?
It'll be interesting to see. I am very surprised to see Coach PK coming through with the conduit. I don't think that he usually prefers that class. I know that he's a good enough player that he can play pretty much any class and do really well with it. But we have to think that this is in response to Gigabyte, right? We have to think that he's trying to meet Gigabyte on his own arena and stand head to head with him. I don't know if he can or not, but right now they have done a great job of coming back, and even with a choice of class that he doesn't normally play, this team is stepping up and putting up a good fight. So we'll see what happens as we move on closer and closer to that final score, 89-91, and Coach PK rocking the Blind Faith, baby.
Yeah, sir. And that's where the game mode can make a huge difference. You know, Toxicologist is extremely strong in a mode like BR. And in something like TDM, where you have multiple players in a small area attacking at once, you know, Toxic falls victim to a lot of other reactions. Fire, wind, it can get frozen or even shocked. And so using Toxic in a TDM is risky. It's risky.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the dragonfire can be a deadly thing on the battlefield. We know how quickly them toxicologist clouds can go up, especially when you're getting at the later levels of toxicologist as well. You're throwing out 3 clouds at once. If you get caught in any of those, or dare I say, all 3 of them, the DF potential there with 20 damage a tick is absolutely crazy. And as I've said many a time before, can definitely turn the tide of battle for whoever didn't get DF, should I say.
100%. And I think that really it makes it difficult, but I think it's the proving ground for toxicologists. I think it's the makes or breaks the difference between a good toxicologist and a great one, because the movements of a toxicologist, you have the ability to be so specific with where you're going and what you're doing in terms of like your toxic spray, your puddles, your clouds and stuff. And with all of this chaos going on, you have to be able to maneuver through it with your tox clouds and stuff without being derailed from what you're trying to do. And that's going to be really difficult to do. And I think it's going to be like I said, the proving ground to see some of these toxicologists come through and still make it work in an unfavorable situation. But it looks like Coach PK does go down as I see a big explosion, and I don't know exactly what happened, but I saw Davon's face get really big.
Yeah.
So, Dav, what were you excited about?
We're right here at the final push, man, of this match, man. 103 to 105, and Coach PK has turned it up another level. He is lasering people from across the match. We're still so close. It could go either way. I'm hooked in.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Complete chaos and mayhem in the center of this arena right now. Oh wow.
No, the Valgad just add to the chaos as well. Noodles flying, lightning bolts shooting, toxicologist slaps coming in hot. There's a little bit of everything here. Fireballs going out is absolute chaos, but you love to see it. It was super close between them, but it looks like that will be game. And we see Giggs
Wow.
coming out with 10 exiles. Absolutely incredible
Wow.
stuff. With coach
That
with
was
9.
crazy.
Whew.
Wow. 10 was it 10, 4, and 6 to 9, 4, and 6.
That was crazy.
Oh my gosh. And you
Close
honestly,
stuff.
you love to see that reaction from Coach PK. Such an incredible player, such an incredible community member. He lost and he was still happy because he had a good time. And that is like the encapsulates Spell Break. We're here
Exactly.
for a good time. All right. And that's what we're doing right here, right now. And if you guys want to make sure you're involved with all the good time, make sure you type !SGC in the chat. Get yourself a link over into the Discord. Get involved with our future tournaments. We don't only have competitive stuff, you guys. We got casual things. We got mini games. We got prizes. We got events. We're just trying to bring all the community together in one place so we can show love and enjoy Spell Break. Make sure you come through and hit the follow. All right. All right.
Yes.
Woo,
Yes.
baby. That was
Do it. Do it.
What an exciting first couple games.
Wow.
And we will be hosting another tournament coming up very, very soon, you guys. We're doing TDM right now, but we have one coming up on the 28th. It's going to be at 4 p.m. EST, and that's going to be the solo BR tournament, you guys. Check it out. Seriously, if you haven't already, get into the Discord. If you think we can do something better, let us know. If you have an idea for a fun mini game, let us know. If you love Spell Break and us, let us know because we
Let
love
us
you
know.
too.
Let
We
us
wanna hear it,
know.
okay. But yeah, you guys, we're gonna get back into it very soon. Those matches were incredible. Literally both rounds, just back-to-back nail biters, insane players coming through with insane strategies, and just showing you guys. I always say when I try to describe Spellbreak to somebody, if you put like what a speedster sees like in the world, how everything is just like crazy, but he's able to move through it without any problems, plus like a crazy anime fight, that's Spellbreak.
Yes.
Like there's chaos everywhere. You have to figure out how to navigate it, but also pretty colors and cool action.
It's beautiful
You know?
chaos. Beautiful
That's
chaos
it, that's
indeed.
it. And there's so much to learn as well, which is one of the crazy things, which brings us back to the incredible sponsor here, Metafire. Because there's so much to learn in Spellbreak, going to speak to one of the coaches, one of the 3 coaches we've got on there, I can attest personally, all 3 of them, absolutely incredible people, great to work with, great to play with. It's just so much fun, and there's so much to be learned with all the different classes. And so, yeah, if you are interested in that kind of stuff, make sure to go check out Metafire. Use code CSL15 for a 15% off all lessons. Absolutely awesome stuff. You love to see it.
Oh yeah. And Metafy is a sponsor of many communities. They're helping us out do what we're doing here now. But they spread the love across all players that are trying to take their game to the next level. And if you all don't know what Metafy is, we've kind of been talking about it a little while, just assuming that you all know. So if you don't, let me explain a little bit. Metafy is an online platform that allows players to learn from and play with some of the best players in the world. Kyrie Caitlin, Chaos, Kamsky coming through for Spellbreak. Metafy grants players a private one-on-one coaching session with elite coaches, some of which are even playing in this event today. Keep your eyes out. You can choose from the top coaches and book your first sessions in less than 3 minutes. Super easy. Very convenient site. Go check it out. And with Metafy, you're just going to get some of the best coaching and for the best value, period. So go check it out. Promo code CSL15, like my boy LD said. But man, oh man, this tournament is already starting off so hype, you guys. I'm super excited. The players are bringing it. The team's bringing it here in SGC.
Yes.
Metafy's bringing it through with the tournaments. Can we talk a little bit about the prize money? Does anybody can you tell me what's up for grabs here, you guys? Anybody know?
Oh snap! We got $500 up for grabs, and it's split 30, 20, 10 down to the top 3 teams.
Yeah.
So super big, right? $500 can make a big difference in someone's. I know I could use $500 right now.
Yeah.
Which is another reason I wanted to talk about. I see chat getting so hype right now. There was 1 point difference in that match. 1 point to make it or break it. Guys, never feel scared to reach out, hit up Timmy, hit up any of these players that you see.
Let us know what you need. We'll come through and bring
Yes,
you
that's
together.
it.
Absolutely.
That's it. Don't forget as well, along with the prize money, there are also some packs that are going with those as well. Some Crackshot Priestess packs and some gold packs. 13,500 gold comes with the Priestess or the Crackshot pack. Do you know how many outfits you can get with that much gold? Because I do,
That's
and
a
it's
lot of gold.
awesome.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, if anybody's seen my outfit closet, yeah, there's a couple. Just
You
a
gotta have
few.
options, right? For
Yeah,
any
yeah,
game show.
of course, with so many nice ones out there. But yeah, a lot up for grabs today. It's so hyped to see, and yeah, it's definitely keeping the players invigorated by the looks of it.
Oh yeah, some cash money on the line. $300 for that first prize winner. I believe it's going to be 150 for second place, 50 for third place, and the prizes, the elemental packs, the crack shop packs of their choices. And third place will be receiving that 1,000 gold pack. But you don't have to necessarily be playing the game to get on the action, on the love, the fun stuff. You guys want to win something too, right? You're not here just for the hype. Okay, all right, maybe you are, but listen, there's a little bit of a cherry on the top. We got a little bit of sprinkle, the sprinkles on top. We got some prizes for y'all in the chat as well. We're going to be giving away some additional codes to anybody that's hanging out in the chat during the day. So if you're hanging out, you're watching the tournament, just keep an eye on things going on in that chat. Some moderators or some SGC team members will be bringing you guys those opportunities, and we're really excited to share that going in. But we need to go ahead and give an update on what's going on. That is going to be the end of our first match, and UB will be taking the dub. They'll be facing against Super Team next. I believe our next round is going to be Adjudication and Gecko's Wet Thigh, if I'm not mistaken. I think we're going to queue it up. If you guys want to keep up, follow along with the bracket and everything, we'll have a link for you guys in the chat shortly if one of the moderators or SGC
Super
All
cool
right.
stuff.
Looks like we are we're waiting a little bit for the winner of our second match to play it out. We got Night Raiders will be one of our teams, and right now I believe SA Resistance and Cracked Knights, that's one of the teams I was talking about, is playing it out. So we're going to be waiting to see exactly the outcome of that.
Yeah, have to see if you were correct, Timmy. Have to see how they perform and whether they make it through to go up against Night Raiders. We do also see there is another game still going on. Runic Abyss and Frog Army are still duking it out in the H bracket. Ready, one of them two ready to take on Dumb Ways to Die. So it's going to be super exciting stuff. I am 100% for sure looking forward to that game. Super Team versus UB. That should be super exciting. But you know we're going to be showing you guys here either Cracked Knights or SA Resistance up against Night Raider Z, which looks like it has some incredible players on it. Dav, if you've got anything about those players.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So let's talk about Cracked Knights first. We got 5 elders on there. An awesome person, a great player. He's only gotten better with time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I've enjoyed all the action. I think the thing I'm most excited about to me today is the talents. The talent choices people are choosing really, pick their style for them throughout that match, and we get to watch it unfold.
And there's such different choices than what you would normally see, right?
Yeah.
Team Deathmatch really makes these players put on their thinking cap and figure out how can I gain an advantage here, other than just my play alone. And that's the cool thing that the depth in Spellbreak is. It's not just this game that has incredible aiming and movement. There's things that you can do outside of the game into the lobby. There's theory crafting and stuff that you can talk with your friends, figure out what's working with them. And that's one thing that I think is really special in this community, in this game, that's offered that you don't normally get in a fast-paced shooter type game, and I think that's one of the things that makes this special for sure. We are going to say that we're watching, so it's going to be Cracked Knights versus SA Resistance. Now, I personally am not super familiar with the players from SA Resistance exactly. They are a Brazilian team. I do know William Dubois, but I'm not sure exactly of the other two players. I'm not even sure if I want to take a stab at pronouncing those names, so I might hand it out to LD. But yeah, some interesting players on SA Resistance, and I don't know what to expect there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'm not all too familiar with the Brazilian side of Spellbreak, but I hear there are some incredible players over there. Just looking at a couple of notes that we have over here for them, we've got a level 44 toxicologist main. Always love to see a toxicologist main. We were talking about that class earlier, how effective it can be, its counters, what it can counter. So always love to see a toxicologist player up. Super, super fun. We also, as we were talking about earlier as well, another Tempest on that team as well, and is an active content creator as well. So if you want to go and check them out, again, I would love to try and tell you, but I don't want to butcher anyone's name because they look awesome. It's super, super exciting seeing people from all different parts of the world getting involved in this. An absolute honor to have so many different people here. It's truly awesome stuff. But that is Team SA Resistance. If you want to go and check out the brackets and look at who's playing for yourself.
On that team, I noticed one more thing here. It looks like we have a sub that came through. KU7ALO wasn't able to make it, so we have Bagutina subbing in. And so I don't know if that was someone they knew prior, if they have a lot of synergy already, or if it's kind of a last-minute swap, or if that could affect the fight going forward.
It'll be interesting to see. They're definitely facing a team that you don't really want to slip up on with Cracked Knights. But it is going to be really interesting to see them going in. And I really, LD, you pointed out that we were talking about some Tempest. I'm going to assume that we probably will have a Tempest in probably every match, probably on both teams. So I'm really, really, really anxious to get some of that perspective. Hopefully we can get some perspective with a Tempest at some point, because if you guys haven't been around in a while, if you haven't played Spellbreak in a while, if you're just coming back, you don't know about the dodge mechanic, you don't know about the gravity changes and all that.
Yeah.
You're going to be really, really blown away by the Tempest players in the game. And it's partly because Tempest is needed right now a little bit to achieve that kind of high-flying movement that you're used to with Spellbreak. But it's also because it's just Tempest is in a really, really good spot right now. And it's really one of those classes that if you played pre-alpha, the players back then, they used to keep a wind gauntlet on one hand, and they didn't usually attack with it. It was only for movement. And that mentality has kind of come back a little bit. It gives you opens so many possibilities, open doors for movement and shot possibilities, that you can kind of just rely on it for movement only and bring out the offhand for damage. And that's where Spellslinger is going to come into play a lot. And I think on top of the movement of Tempest, when you watch somebody, you're watching a normal Spellbreak player and you're like, oh, they got 2 gauntlets, they've got a rune, they've got some potions, that's cool. And then you watch a Tempest, they've got 5 gauntlets, they've got multiple runes, they're like they're ricocheting off the building. You're like, what is going on? But it's super exciting, and I hope we get to share that with the tournament for sure.
Go on, Duff.
Well, I was just touching on that. To anybody who hasn't played in a while, there has been a lot of changes in the way that Spellbreak feels, not only in gravity, but also the mana, the levitation costs. So now when you tap that, if you tap it out of haste, or if you tap it just trying to, it takes all your mana away. And we know that. So that Tempest is a super strong thing to grab. Not to mention, if you're maining Tempest, you're getting a little bit of a damage buff and a little bit of a damage reduction in that same gauntlet too.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to touch on, is the of how powerful Squall can be as well. On top of having that offhand for damage, the damage reduction you get in the air and the damage increase is an absolute game changer. You see some people, especially paired with talents as well, you see some people hitting 50, 55 damage fireballs, which can absolutely melt someone. It's super, super exciting stuff to see. Squall is another great reason to use Tempest. It's just no end of good reasons.
Oh yeah. And I think for a long time we talked about in the community how Conduit had such a great kit, and for a long time I say that I think it has the strongest kit in the game. I still stand by that, I think, but Tempest, the more you point out the kit strengths, for a long time I kind of just thought, well, the movement is really great and that's really where it shines the most. But like, honestly, the kit of the class is very, very strong. It very much supplements the idea of I want to stay in the air all the time. And if I do, there's some big pros for me. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's exciting. Hopefully we get to see some of that, but we're about to get back into the action. I know y'all enjoy hearing us talk. I know that's why you're here for, but sorry, we got to get back into the action. And you see a big smile on my face because Crack Knights came through. I was right. No disrespect to SA Resistance. You guys probably played a wonderful game, and I do believe there's going to be a losers bracket, so you guys might get a little bit of a redemption arc. But right now we're going to jump into Crack Knights versus Night Raiders very, very soon. And man, oh man, this is going to be a game. Night DayZ, familiar and famous thug on Night Raiders. And then we already talked a little bit about Crack Knights, but I'll remind you guys, 5 Elders, Bully, and I Am Dar going to be on that other one. And what do y'all think about these teams? Are y'all excited? What are you thinking? Who's going to come out on top?
I'm looking at Night DayZ very with a lot of interest. I can see here from the notes we have an upcoming, adaptable, flexible player. Now that isn't something we necessarily see a lot. Somebody who can flex, pun intended, between all of the different gauntlets is a very, very strong thing to have. Also see that was a Neighbor Jake cookout runner-up as well. So we know that they can play that competitive spell break. They know what they're doing with the flex classes. Yeah, I'm super excited to see what Night DayZ can bring to this game.
Have you got any information on these players? Any of them that stand out to you on either team?
So we talked about Shogun, and on that same team we have Dar, and Dar has seen quite a bit of competitive play. So I don't think that his mental is going to be shaken at all. I think that he's going to bring the best that he can to this fight, and I've honestly watched him do some crazy stuff. So both teams have strong players. It's very interesting, like you read out, someone listing themselves as a ambi user, just like able to use Spell Slinger, any gauntlet that you desire, and how that's going to come into play too. Maybe you'll be a specialist or a master of one, or just as good with all of them.
The avatar, right? The
avatar.
That's just going to be exciting to see. I'm very curious, beyond being really entertaining, how effective it will be. But if he decides to go with 6 gauntlets, that will definitely be a huge flex and really, really fun to see play. For sure. But I'm very surprised. I just read this, that Dar is a controller player, and not only a controller player, but a toxicologist controller player, which very impressive to me. I would say out of any like assistance that's there with that peripheral in any way, toxicologist is probably the least helped by it. It's very, very movement intensive. It's very, very much up in your face. So like, to me, it feels like a controller player playing toxicologist and competing at this level is huge flex. Yeah, it's not easy to do, and I'm really, really excited to see Dar come through and show up in these lobbies. I know Dar a bit from the community. I know him a bit from the stacked lobbies, but I'm really anxious to see him come through in a competitive, like organized setting here. It's going to be exciting.
Yes. For sure. I mean, the only one of the only other controller players that I know is Gigabyte, who we saw earlier using the conduit. The controller, like Timmy says, can sometimes help or detriment certain gauntlets, but it's truly down to the skill of a player. And we see both of those players, Dar and Gigabyte, using their controller abilities very, very well against mouse and keyboard. They're mouse and keyboard players. They've got that pinpoint aim with the mouse. So to be able to compete on the same level with the controller, personally, I think it's an incredible thing to see. Super, super cool. And a lot of work and dedication goes into them players that dedicate themselves to the controller.
Oh yeah, and I love to see people that they don't necessarily fall in line with what works. They don't take the easiest path, the path of least resistance. They forge their own path, and I love those kind of people. And that's what we see a lot of these controller players coming through. They may start off with a class or a gauntlet that might be, helped quite a bit from their peripheral, but as they learn the game, as they pick up the game, they might find something they find more enjoyable. It might not be as effective, but they push it because they enjoy it, and they make it to a level where it can be effective and it can compete. And that's something that's been going on in this community since I can remember. I've been playing Spellbreak for almost 4 years now. Oh my goodness.
Flexing on us with the time there, Timmy.
So I think that's been going on for a long time. People have really loved to, like, they they relate to their class, they feel proud of their class, and they want to make it work, or their rune or their talent choices, and they make a way to make it work.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I saw a lot of people still using the stone gauntlet throughout chapter 3, even though it had been nerfed quite a bit. But stone shaping is in their blood, and you know that 100%. So the fact that this
Can
is
attest.
a fun thing is the best, man. Like, I think everyone's here just to have a good time, regardless of the outcomes. And you're going to be able to see that in some of the players' builds too.
Yep. And
That's
you
it,
already seen that in the
exactly.
celebrations. I mean, we saw a player that had lost smiling and clapping because they had such a good time. That's Spellbreak. That's Spellbreak. But
Yes, that's what we love
this
about it.
is also the time where we must say adieu, a little bit of a farewell to one of our handsome casters. He's going to have to step in and take over the hosting responsibilities. But don't worry, we got another one coming in, LD Gold. I want to say thank you so much. You have been incredible. Thanks for being here and casting with us. And I look forward to getting some more time together, my friend. All right. Joining us now is another friendo from across the pond. You guys already are familiar with him if you've been a part of the community for a while. Your friend and my friend, Mr. Greensloth Gaming. How are you doing?
I'm all good, thank you, Timmy. I am all good. Those first games were something special, weren't they? Holy,
Wow,
that
wow.
was just watching those games and the strategies behind each team and the way that they use their classes was just absolutely incredible.
It's exciting to see these players. Like I said, a lot of these players have been hiding in the custom lobbies, in private scrimmages. So, like, even players that are playing the game may have not seen these players. Some of these players are bringing brand new strategies to the lobby, to the TDM arena, and like I said, it is very different from BR. So we're seeing some really cool, unique, innovative thinking happening. And as always, anytime you watch Spellbreak, we're seeing some action, we're seeing some fun times, and some beautiful art too. So thank you again for joining us, Sloth. We're going to jump on into it very soon. We're going to be taking a look at Crack Knights versus Night Raiders coming up soon. And since you just joined us, Sloth, you haven't had a chance to chime in. Do you have a favorite out of either of these teams? Are there any players on either of these teams that might be somebody that sticks out to you? What are your thoughts?
Having played against both teams individually and as teams, both are going to be a real threat. 100%. The one that's definitely going to be one to look out for is probably Five Elders or Shogun. Since we've been stacking lobbies against each other for a while now. We've got a friendly little rivalry going on as we're both Frostborn players, and watching the way that he's improved over the past months is just insane, absolutely insane. Like, he's come on leaps and bounds.
Heck yeah. All right, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties or waiting on the players to get their things going on. So we're going to hang out and chat a little bit more about these players and our sponsors and in this awesome tournament. But yeah, I think that's one of the cool things. I'm glad that you brought that up, Sloth, because one of the things when we had a kind of established competitive scene here in Spellbreak that started to happen a lot back when Element was around is that these players, before they got into a competitive scene in an organization where they could go in tournaments and stuff, they were great players, right? They were pushing themselves, they were pushing the game, and they were doing great. But whenever a tournament came around and scenes became a thing and teams became a thing and people started to develop their own, like, almost orgs within Spellbreak, it started pushing those players and the game to such a higher level that I even thought that Spellbreak could be played at. And now that we have SGC here, it's given these players a home. It's given them motivation, and I'm very excited to see what happens as they kind of push this to the highest level and see what kind of techniques kind of get developed through it.
Yeah, that's why this is so cool. Because, like you said, there has been people who have been kind of hiding out, and then there's even people who've just been playing the game every single day. And you have some players who reach that level of skill that it's just like riding a bike, man. They might even take 2 months off, they come back, and it's no problem for them. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like this is exactly what I think we were all looking forward to. You know, something that's just it feels exciting. It feels huge. You know what I mean? And it lets a lot of players showcase all that hard work that they've been putting in over the last couple months.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I
100%.
Go ahead,
Sorry, go on
Slav.
to me.
It's you, my friend.
I was just saying I can attest to this as well from the days of Element. I know a lot of the current players in the tournament, and a lot of people in the chat will remember the Element tournaments that were always hosted back in the day. And since then, there's been a void of competitiveness where these gamers have been, as you say, creating their own custom games or scrimming in the stat games that we've been hosting. But now they've really got a place to show what they've been practicing.
Exactly. And really, that's the cool thing. It's been behind closed doors, right, for a while, and now it's the big reveal. And did your Frankenstein better than my Frankenstein type of thing, where these teams are building this monster strategy, and now they all get to let them out of the gate and see which one's the strongest. And I love to see that. It's so exciting. But looking at the player stats, I was scanning through, and I saw something that brought to the attention why this particular tournament and this particular style of Spellbreak is really cool, is because we have a Nintendo Switch player in here, right? We have players on every single console. Every community is represented. I'm sorry, and with a solo BR lobby, you can't do that. Nintendo Switch players can't get into those lobbies. Players that might not be high enough mage rank, even though maybe they're cracked before they're level 23 mage rank or anything. Either way, what I'm trying to get at is custom lobbies allow for us to break down all those barriers. We get to bring everybody that wants to participate, gets to participate, regardless of console, regardless of time on the game. And that's really, really, really fun. And that's one of the things that I always try to bring into this community. I think a lot of the creators do, and just the community in general. We all want everybody to feel welcome. We all want everybody to feel safe and comfortable. And this tournament is kind of an extension of that. We're not just offering it to PC players. We're not just offering it to a certain peripheral. It's everybody. If you enjoy Spellbreak, you're invited. And
100%. 100%, and that's what the Spellbreak community has been about since. I mean, I didn't come in from the pre-alpha days. I know people have been here longer than that, but when I came at launch and I started gaming and I started streaming it, and ever since then, it's been such a welcoming community, and I've never felt like an outsider within it. I've always been like, oh yeah, no, you're a breaker. Come in here, get in these games, whether it's through custom lobbies or whether it's through stat games. It's always even outside of the game itself, the community itself is just so tight that it really does feel like you've got friends in every corner of the world.
Yep. Yeah, and that's cool. And we feel close too. It's something special for sure.
That's the beauty of Spellbreak.
Go ahead, Dad.
That's the beauty of Spellbreak in general, is that it is free to play. It's cross-platform. It's available on all these systems. You know what I mean? It's such an amazing game to play with friends, and for anybody who's new to the game, you definitely need to have it on your system, whatever you play on. And also, this was another reason why I wanted to focus like Metafy. It's so cool that they put something, that they allowed us to host something like this, reconnect with some people who maybe faded away from the game, show new people of the game what we're about, that there's a community here, that we're always here to play games together, or do anything that we can. So this is a super exciting day, and I'm happy to be here, man. I'm excited for the next round.
But yeah, one of the things that I enjoy doing, and I don't know whether, I'm sure you guys have probably done the same thing, is when you get a new person join either your stream or your game, or reach out to you for some reason that they want to team up or whatever. And then when they get into the lobbies, because we've pulled them into the higher caliber games, they've kind of walked into a whole new world. And this is what these tournaments do. I've seen a load of new players form teams specifically for this tournament. And I remember, again, back when I started, I formed a team thinking I was pretty good, not realizing I was stuck in a certain skill level of lobbies. And then I got into my first tournament and I got decimated. But it drove me to become a better player and stick around and be like, oh, okay, so I need to go and watch these guys because they know what they're doing.
Yeah. And that's exactly why it's so motivating to have stuff like this, to have players have a goal, right? See people that they that they can kind of aspire to be like, or they can learn from. And speaking of learning from, you guys, I don't know if you've heard, but today's tournament is sponsored by Medify. Medify is going to be your online go-to place to get coaching for any game that you want to out there. Medify is that online platform that allows players to learn from and play with some of the best players in the world. Also big shout out to Sector X Gaming for coming through and letting us use their esports facility. Rogue Yoshi coming through and putting on a great show from behind the scenes and helping us out. And one of the reasons I kind of wanted to, it was a good segue, right? It was a good segue. But also one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up sponsors is, as much as you, if you're in the same boat as me, as much as you believe in Spellbreak, as much as you see the potential, you see the special thing that's here, sometimes it is extremely reassuring and gratifying when you see people like Medify, people like Sector X Gaming, people that are taking time out because they see something special here too. And really, I don't think the sponsors know how much it means to us for them to see what we see. And that's the reason we have this community and this team, SGC. We care about it, and we're willing to put in the work to provide a good place, a good home, a quality home for you all. So we couldn't do that without the sponsors. Big shout out to Medify and Sector X Gaming. Again, big shout out to everybody in the chat. Big shout out to all the players coming through to help us make this happen. And I believe we're almost ready for our next match. I'm not sure if we're getting Cracked Knight or Knight Raiders, but I do believe the action is queuing up for us here shortly.
All right.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Can't wait for some more action. Honestly, these two teams are just something else. They're set up to be. This is set up to be a really interesting game because not only is each individual a great player, but they're also great parts of great team players. Their comms are always on point.
Okay.
And
good luck, team.
I know from experience from facing these people that it is not an easy task, and it is one hell of a scary aspect.